Hi friends, today I am almost out of my cards. I make all of my cards, so I thought it might be time to make a few. I hand paint a lot of them, but today I'm going to be using this fun little stencil. I'm having so much fun with these, you guys. They're these little rubber stamps, and then you guys actually led me to the block. You buy this acrylic block and you set them on there, and if you buy all the different stencils you can arrange them however you want. So they've been really fun to play with lately. And when I just want to make, maybe 6 cards at a time or something like that, I go ahead and I use this. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I also have Let the Sunshine In. That's a little stamp that came with this sunflower collection. So what I'm doing though is instead of using ink, I'm going to use watercolor, because what I want to be able to do is go in and I'm actually going to take these little leaves off and add some water and make it kind of soft, more watercolor type look. So that's what I'm doing here. And the cards that I'm using, I've used these for years because I paint so many of my own cards. They're really great. They're wonderful weight, and they are 140 pound, and they've got some great texture. So that's what I use. They're by Stratford. I'll find my link. I haven't bought them in a while because I buy them in bulk. And so that's what I'm going to be using. And then today, as you know, if you have the Princeton Long Round, this is my brush set coming out. It'll be very limited edition in September. And it's a set of 5, but this is my long round version. Love it. The paints I'll be using will be my MeiLiang palette. As you know, I love the best student palette under $20. Love it. And then I'm going to use, excuse that camera shake, just bumped my head, the MAB watercolors that have that shimmer. And I think because she's got this beautiful orangey color, I'm going to try that. There's also, I have this other one, Planet Series, and this one is a bit kind of a goldish color in it. So I'm going to use that as well. And then I've got my Meeden, I love my ceramic pieces by Meeden. And I'm telling you, if you have ever dumped your water, yikes, I love the Meeden. Have never dumped it. It's great. And you always want to make sure you're washing and rinsing your brushes out. So let me just grab a napkin here because I'm a big dabber of my brush. I'm going to just set that here. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is just paint on this. This is a sunflower. So I'm just going to paint on top of that with my Meeden paints. And I think I will do a combination of cad yellow. So just loading my brush with about 50 water, 50 paint. I want to go pretty dark value here because I want this to show up. So I'm kind of, the way I do it is I kind of use the side of my brush so I can just touching the surface here like that. Picking up more paint, maybe a little bit more water. And I'm just running over the surface of my stamp. I don't want too much water here because I don't want it to end up dripping out. But I want it wet enough that it's definitely going to print out. And then I think in the middle, what I'll also do before I go to the middle is just add in a little bit of orange here and there. And it's going to really blend and be beautiful. And then in the center, I'm going to kind of mix it up, maybe add some of that burnt sienna, maybe even a little of that in our center, and then some of that real dark brown, like that. Okay. And before that dries, I'm just going to wash and rinse my brush. And I think I'll do this in a black. So I'll just skim over the top of that too. Hopefully this prints out. I've never used the words So I hope that prints out. If it doesn't, I can always, matter of fact, you know what? I'm seeing it kind of resist. So I'm just gonna take that off, and I'm sorry for that camera shake again. I keep bumping my head. I'm gonna go into it afterwards and print that separately and maybe use some black ink. Okay, so I'm ready to go. I want my little flower to be right about here. So let's just go ahead and I'm gonna place that down. There we go. Okay, look how fun. And you know what I love? Look at all the white space. So now I'll just wet my brush, not too much though. I just barely want it to be damp, because if it's too wet, it's just gonna make a big puddle. And then I just kind of start going through. I don't want to fully color this in because I really like the lines and what's here. And I'm probably not even going to touch what's in the center because I think that looks really good. So just rinsing my brush a little bit just to remove some of the paint. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? We can even kind of create a little bit of a background there. Love doing that. There we go. So fun, nice and wet and washy. And then before that dries too much, I'm not going to touch the center because I want that to be a little bit more white space in there. But what I am going to do, my gosh, I keep hitting my head on that. I am going to add in some green here. So let me just grab, my favorite go-to green is always sap green and a little bit of olive green. So I already have some in my palette here. And using the side of my brush, I'm just going to come in and add some fun leaves here. And then wet my brush and kind of help that. Maybe go into the centers here with a little bit of darker green. Just to emphasize around the flower. And now if I feel I have too much there, I can just wash and rinse my brush and just go in and lift it right up. I kind of like that though. Now, once this dries, I can always go in and put some darker leaves here. I'm going to go ahead and do the stem here. And sunflowers typically have a pretty thick stem. Go ahead and add in a little bit of darker green. There we go. So even already right there, you know, it's pretty nice. I've got a damp brush here that I've washed and rinsed, and I'm just going to pull out some more leaves here, but just with water. So I'm almost treating water like a color. And then I'll just add in a little bit of color in there. So definitely think about your water as a color. Just going in and adding in a little bit of that, and maybe one coming out here. Oop, need some more water there. There we go. And again, some water. And then create that stem. So these stamps are so much fun. They make it so easy. I think I'm going to add a little bit more of that washy background. So I've got a damp brush, And then I want to soften those edges. Like that. Look how pretty. We could even soften this edge here, making sure you don't have too much water on your brush or it could really puddle on you. There we go. So this is quite washy. Now, once some of this dries, I can go in and add some more leaves that are a little bit more defined. But let's do this right now. Let me get a different block to put this little stamp on. 1 second. Let's see. Well, I have misplaced my blocks. So let's take this one off. These feel so cool, by the way, too. I love them. And I'm going to wash off that watercolor so it's nice and clean. And then let's put our words on there like that. There we go. And I will stamp that onto my black block. Oh, you know what? I actually found my smaller block. Here we go. So I've got this one here too. So let's use that one. That's better. It's not so big. And I love these blocks because they have guidelines on them. So they make it easy to get it nice and straight, which matter of fact, mine's a little crooked. So there we go. And let me grab my permanent ink. I love the Ranger pads. I think I got this one actually at Michael's. And then let's set that in there. And this would be really pretty. I have a more rustic stamps. I'm gonna put this down here because that's wet up there. So just get this somewhat centered. And look, how nice is that? Now, moving forward, I would probably more put that up there, but I didn't want to touch that because it was wet, so it's fine. But isn't that so fun? Who wouldn't like to get a card like this? Before I finish, this is still a little bit wet, but I'm going to go in there with some of my sap green and my olive green. Like I said, it's kind of my go-to. You know, I'm sure you have your favorite green as well. And I'm going to hold my brush right where these little lines are behind the ferrule, so I have a little bit of control. And I'm going to go in and just use a light touch with this tip of my brush and go in and just add some little details like that. Look how fun. Just little squiggles. And it really just adds that touch. Can do that here too. Just letting my brush move around, and I think that's all I want to do. So I'm basically done. And look at how beautiful that is. Now this I'll just go, I just wash it. It's not a big deal. It's just watercolors on there. But there you go, I am done. And they come, these Stratford watercolor cards come with the most beautiful envelopes. They're kind of, you know, torn on the edges, and they're really beautiful. I actually forgot to add in some of this. Let me swatch this real quick to see what that color is. 1 second. So yeah, look how pretty that is. And this is the MABs. This is the, let's see, what series is this? The Fairy series. So I really like that orange. So I might just add, got quite a bit on my brush there. Let me dab that off a bit. Did you see all that kind of dripped off. And look at that. Ooh, love it. You could even add that to the green. I love these. So this is typically how I use my MABs. I use them as little touches. Look how beautiful. They just give that little bit of interest where somebody's going to go, oh, do I see a sparkle? The other thing I've been doing with these two is I've actually been doing some splatters. So I'm going to show you that on here too. This card, you guys, is going to have every technique, right? Whoever gets this card is going to be like, whoa, there's a lot going on there. But watch this. And that is really going to give you some fun shimmers there. So there you go. I think I'm done. And I will put all the links to my, excuse me, my supplies. I got to go back and look for this link. I bought these a while ago. I will also link MAB. I hope you support her. She's such a wonderful person in the UK, and I've got so many of her paints, and she doesn't pay me monetarily. I just love her paints. And then my brushes, if you are interested, get on the interest list because it will be a small, short, limited release. But I'm pretty excited to share them with you. There's 5 of them, and they'll be $55 for 24 hours, and then they'll go to $65. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I am having so much fun with you guys, and I love all the interesting ideas and little thoughts you guys bring to our community here. And I will see you soon. Bye.